So, if you're running SAP, you are sitting on an absolute gold mine of sensitive employee data. But here's the real question. Is it actually secure? Today, we're going to walk through the playbook to lock it all down and, crucially, make sure you're compliant with the latest ISO 27001 standard.
All right, let's just jump right in with a pretty pointed question. In your company right now, who can see your CEO's salary? I mean, really think about it. Who can see an executive's bonus? The answer? Well, it might just surprise you.
You know who it is? It's probably the very people who keep your systems running day to day. We're talking about your admins, your developers, maybe even external consultants. Look, they need pretty broad access to do their jobs. I get that. But way too often, that access spills over into super sensitive data they really have no business seeing. So in this explainer, we're going to show you exactly how to fix that. So the heart of the problem really lies in your SAP Human Capital Management module, HCM. That's where pretty much all your employee data lives. It's this massive, centralized hub of incredibly sensitive information. And here's the scary part. By default, it's often wide open to way too many internal viewers. Your biggest threat here isn't some malicious hacker from the outside. It's probably a well-meaning employee who just has way more access than they should.
And believe me, we are not just talking about phone numbers and email addresses here. Look at this list. We're talking about bank account numbers, IBANs, salaries, bonuses, severance packages, even really private stuff like health status, disciplinary actions, performance reviews. This is the kind of data that, if it gets out, creates just a massive risk, not just for the individual, but for the entire organization.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this mess? Well, the whole solution is built around a really fundamental security concept, the need-to-know principle. It's simple, really. A user should only be able to see the specific information they need to do their job, nothing more. And listen, this isn't just some nice-to-have best practice anymore. It's a core, non-negotiable requirement for big compliance frameworks like ISO 27001. And speaking of ISO 27001, this has gotten serious. The latest version of the standard, the 2022 update, now has a specific control for this. It's called A.811 data masking. So for any organization that's certified or wants to be, this has officially shifted from a good idea to a you must do this kind of mandate. So what is data masking, really? This is a super important point, so let's be clear. It's not about blocking a user from seeing an employee's record completely. No, it's about letting them see that the record exists, but hiding or obscuring the sensitive fields inside that record. The actual data in the database, totally untouched, totally safe. It's just what the user sees on their screen that gets controlled. Okay, that's the theory. Let's get practical. How do you actually do this inside an SAP system? Let's dig into the key ways you can hide this data in plain sight. Now, this is where things get really interesting, because you have to understand the difference between two main approaches. On one hand, you have traditional access control. Think of this like a brick wall. It just completely blocks a user from seeing a screen, like the salary screen. The problem? Well, it can create what we call operational blindness. A support person might not even be able to tell if a salary record exists, which can stop them from doing their job. But data masking, that's different. It's more like a frosted window. They can see the record is there, so the workflow isn't broken, but they can't see the sensitive details inside. It is a much more elegant solution.
And the cool thing is, you can get really granular with this. Take this, for example, partial masking. See how you can still see the first few and the last few digits of the IBAN or the ID? This is perfect for verification. A user can confirm, yep, this is the right employee record without ever seeing the full sensitive number. Super useful.
And then for the really, really critical stuff, you go with full masking. Here, the entire salary amount or a health diagnosis is just gone, replaced by asterisks. The field is still there, so the user knows that data exists, but the content is completely hidden from view. This is basically your highest level of on-screen protection. But, and this is a big but, here's the part that auditors are going to zero in on. Just hiding the data is only half the battle. You absolutely must log every single time that data is viewed. And I mean every time, whether it's masked or unmasked. Without that solid audit trail, sure, you might have security, but you definitely don't have compliance. All right, so you're sold on the idea. How do you actually implement it? Well, you're looking at two main paths. You can go with a pre-built, certified add-on solution, or you can task your internal developers, your ABAP team, to build a custom solution from the ground up. Let's break down the pros and cons, because there are some big ones. This chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? At first glance, custom ABAP development looks pretty tempting, right? No big license costs, but you have to look at the hidden costs. We're talking high maintenance forever, a much higher security risk from potential bugs, and really inflexible hard-coded rules. Now, the standard add-on, yeah, it has a license fee, but what do you get for that? Low maintenance, built-in audit logging right out of the box, and the flexibility to change rules on the fly as your business changes. Honestly, for any company that's serious about long-term security and being ready for an audit, the add-on is almost always the smarter choice.
Okay, enough talk about strategy. Let's turn this into a concrete plan of action. Here is your practical, step-by-step playbook for getting a compliant data masking solution up and running.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with a policy that's defined by roles. Just look at this example here. The payroll manager, they pretty much see everything. I mean, that's their job. But the IT support team, nope, they see nothing. It's all fully masked. A recruiter might see contact info, but definitely not the salary. And a line manager, maybe they can see the salary for their own team, but for nobody else. This is that need-to-know principle in action. It's beautiful. So here it is, your 4-step roadmap to get this done. Step 1, you've got to do a data inventory and classify everything. Identify every single sensitive field, in SAP terms, that's your info types, that needs to be protected. Step 2, choose your weapon. Based on everything we just talked about, decide if you're going with the add-on or custom code. Step 3, and this is important, define a break glass procedure for emergencies. This is a special, super-monitored firefighter account that can see everything in a real crisis. And finally, step 4, and please do not skip this one, secure your non-production systems. Never, ever use live, sensitive employee data for testing. You have to use data scrambling tools to anonymize it first. Seriously.
And that brings us to what I like to call the golden rule, especially if you ever have to face an auditor. It's all about segregation of duties. Let me put it simply. The person who defines the masking rules cannot be the same person who audits the logs. You have to keep them separate. That one simple separation is absolutely fundamental if you want a system that's truly secure and trustworthy.
So let's just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. Is your most sensitive data truly secure? Is it actually governed by that principle of need to know? Or is it just sitting there, waiting, just one click away from the wrong person seeing it? We've given you the playbook. Now it's your move.